It is my absolute pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker today, Mike Kipngengo. Mike is a powerhouse in the realm of cooperative development with an impressive track record of fostering sustainable growth and community empowerment. He's currently serving as the Senior Cooperative Officer for the USAID CREA program at Global Communities. And if you thought that was all, well, here's something else for you that Mike brings over 4 years of dedicated service where he has transformed the cooperative landscape across multiple sectors, including agriculture, dairy, and housing. He has touched countless of lives in much counties that you get to hear across Kenya, Meru, Nairobi, Nakuru. Think of Mombasa. Mike has that expertise in financial management and strategic development. Well, he's a beacon of hope for many people. And this very morning, he's going to be a beacon of hope as he leads us clear the session of worker cooperatives. What is worker cooperatives and how does that concern you? Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, allow me to introduce Mike Kipngengo. Mike, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Ian and team from SFA. Just putting on my camera just to confirm to you that the voice behind is a real human being and not a bot. And thanks for those accolades. And I want to start off by expressing my gratitude for this opportunity to share insights this morning into the early afternoon on worker cooperatives. And so I will be joined by Christopher, who will be representing Rogers Rombe from Kigro Recyclers. And so we'll be sharing some of the insights on some of the work we've done and deep diving into the worker cooperative model. So just requesting if you could give me the co-host rights to allow me share a few slides before we get into discussion and Q&A. Great. So just give me a few minutes to have my slides up. Ian and the team, kindly confirm to me that you can view my slides in presentation mode.
Absolutely. Mike, I can confirm that I can see them.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So you will allow me to have my video off just to ensure that the bandwidth is sustained throughout this presentation. So as you've heard during the introduction, today I'm going to take you through understanding worker cooperatives, pathway to inclusive entrepreneurship. And here is what we're going to focus today. And essentially the purpose is to introduce to you worker cooperatives and how it relates to and differs from other forms of business. And by the end, we'll be able to understand the difference between worker cooperatives and other form of business. And I believe that majority of us here are being either founders or players within the small and medium enterprises space. Perhaps majority of our businesses are limited. And so we'll be exploring to see the difference between worker cooperatives and its potential, and also looking at some of the work we've been working under the CLEAR program. First, I would wish to start off by talking about who Global Communities is, and Global Communities is an international non-governmental organization which has been in existence for over 60 years, working in over 26 countries spanning across Africa, Asia, Europe, Americas, and the Middle East. And currently in Kenya, Global Communities is currently implementing two main programs. That's the USAID Clear Plus program, which stands for the Cooperative Leadership, Engagement, Advocacy, and Research, mainly focusing on supporting worker cooperatives here in Kenya. The other program is AfriScout, which is a tech-based program supporting pastoralist communities to find grazing land. Just a bit about getting to understand about Clear Plus program, which is structured into three main objectives. The first objective is improve the enabling environment for worker cooperatives. And I wish to acknowledge the presence of our project director, Madam Olga Oye, who is also the Global Communities Kenya country team lead. She's the one championing the first objective on the improved enabling environment for worker cooperative. The second objective is strengthen worker cooperative capacity, which essentially support early stage development of worker cooperatives to improve their services through, or rather in partnership with the business service providers. And the third objective of our project is learning applied in the development community. And so essentially Clear Plus, building on the success of the preceding program, which was dubbed Clear, across the three objectives. Our approach is we are adopting the market systems approach in the Clear Plus project. And so the focus is on creating sustainable, inclusive market systems that benefit all stakeholders. And some of the key components we're looking at is in terms of market access, value chain development, looking at the end-to-end in terms of all the stages of value chain from production to marketing. There's also component of innovation, where we endeavor to promote the adoption of innovative solutions to existing challenges in the sector. And this squarely falls under what we're having the discussion today of looking at worker cooperatives being a pathway of inclusive entrepreneurship, and what are some of the innovative ways that this model could be utilized. The other component is on inclusivity, ensuring marginalized groups, including women and youth. And last but not least is on business service providers partnership to provide critical support services. And I'm made to understand that some of the SMEs present in this webinar falls within the advisories, or offering some of the advisory services to other business enterprises. Straight now into our discussion for today, just trying to understand what exactly is this type of a business model. And one of the questions we could be asking ourselves is, what's a cooperative, before we go into a worker cooperative? And so a definition of a cooperative is basically an enterprise owned and operated by members to realize their economic goals. And these members can be either consumers, producers, or workers. And the members can either invest together, buy together, sell together, or work together. What members choose to do together determines what the business is formed, either a savings and credit cooperative. We are all aware, majority of us are aware about SACCOs. It can either be a producer cooperative or a worker cooperative. And just to emphasize is whatever the reason is for why they are formed, cooperatives are all democratically controlled by their members and driven by by values and principles. And as entities driven by values, not just profits, cooperatives share the international agreed principles. We normally refer to them as the International Cooperative Alliance 7 principles, and act together to build a better world through cooperation. And as you know, just some of the facts findings, cooperative movement is far from being marginal, and at least 12% of humanity is a cooperator of the approximately 3 million cooperatives on Earth. So with that, you can see the impact the cooperative movement has in the global economy. And so now getting to what a worker cooperative is, and how distinct worker cooperatives compared to other cooperatives, as well as other more conventional businesses, for instance, either partnerships, limited companies. And so just quickly looking at these, worker cooperatives are business owned and controlled by the people. I've just mentioned that, who work within these businesses. These who essentially are workers. And the definition can further be broken down into 3 different characteristics that define what it means to be owned and controlled by our workers. And so first, let's look at the ownership bit of it. In worker cooperatives, essentially, workers make financial investment into the business. And the cooperative or the business entity for this case decides on what that amount is based on the industry they are in and the value of the company, or rather the business enterprise, and the financial needs of the business. And the number of members and other factors is also put into consideration. And in return, members are able to get shares as part of their ownership into the cooperative. And one unique thing I wish to mention about cooperative is that unlike conventional limited liability companies where ownership is pegged on the amount of shares you have, for cooperatives, when decision making, on decision making, one member, in terms of voting, or rather making decision through voting, the principle of one member, one vote applies. Unlike for limited companies where, depending on your share ownership, that would determine the control and the decision making structure within those limited companies. Secondly, looking at control, only the members can make decisions about the cooperative, and decisions are made on one member, one vote basis. I've just mentioned that. And in a worker cooperative, most decisions are made by workers themselves and are made by workers through some type of voting, especially those decisions which affect either the nature or the business blinds. For instance, bringing new owners or selling the business, those decisions are normally taken to members in an AGM or a special general meeting. The aspect of one member, one vote, regardless of how much time or money you have put into the business, each member would be having one vote in terms of the decision making. The idea here is that no one person controls the business, but workers are making decisions and taking responsibility for the business together. Lastly, workers benefit from being part of the cooperative, and that is realized in a number of ways. One is that members benefit by getting wages for their work, and also by sharing benefits or sharing profits for this case. They're also able to benefit by learning about the business and having access to financial information about the business, and by having a voice and a vote, and by having opportunities to grow and develop as people in the workplace. Just quickly looking at the membership difference. Conventionally, majority of us are aware about circles where, for instance, members are putting in money into the cooperative and expect to get credit from it. If you look at the diagram on your far left, you can see that members are putting in money into the cooperative in exchange of credit. In the case of agricultural cooperatives, members are selling their produce to the cooperative in order to access greater markets, to have more power and negotiate for prices. So in the case of farmers, basically they are selling their either coffee, milk under the brand of their cooperative. And again, from the diagram, we can be able to see that members are bringing in products to the cooperative, and the cooperative is providing them with money in exchange of the products they are supplying to the cooperative. Now looking at worker cooperatives, members are selling or providing labor to the cooperative, and in return earn wages plus added benefits of a surplus sharing. This example of worker cooperatives is more intensive and intentional for the members. It is committed, it shows a commitment of membership working in a way that non-members do not have similar benefits to the members. And also by looking at that last example of worker cooperative is that the relationship between members putting in their labor and the output of money in terms of either wages or surplus that is shared among the members of the cooperative. Looking at worker cooperative context globally and also locally, we just quickly talk about where worker cooperatives as whole in the world. And I'd mentioned that approximately 12% of all people on planet are members of some form of cooperatives. But what about worker cooperatives? And just to mention that this is pretty much a new concept here in Kenya. And looking at the global distribution, or rather demographics for worker cooperatives, Spain has more than 18,000 worker cooperatives. In Italy, we have more than 25,000. And in Argentina, we have 6,000 worker cooperatives there. Also the same case with US. Worker cooperative sector is small and growing, and approximately 612 worker cooperatives are in US, having approximately $283 million per year in revenue. Here in Kenya, worker cooperatives is really just beginning, and currently there are over 15 worker cooperatives in Kenya, and all have been launched in support of different developers since 2019 to date. Some of these are in different industries. Solar, we have construction, entertainment, recycling, and more. And the reason why as these numbers are few is that perhaps there's lack of adequate technical support and cooperative developers to support this new model. Just quickly looking at how worker cooperatives form. They can form in three different ways. One is in a conversion where a business owner is ready to retire or leave the business and does not want to lose their legacy. And so basically, they want to the business to remain and to share the risk and rewards with the workers. And so one of the ways is that they can either choose to convert their business into a worker cooperative to preserve the business and also to save the existing jobs and to preserve the investment they have put into their business. And therefore, the workers and the community are able to benefit by being members. A second way on how worker cooperatives can form is through startup cooperatives, where they are formed by a group of individuals who want to have more autonomy and control over their work. And so they have the skills, network, and access to market to run the business. And through that, they may need some support, but they generally can find it on their own or have access to information easily. Lastly is the organized corps, which basically developers come in and having identified the need to either create more jobs for maybe specific groups in the community, specifically to access decent jobs that may be more stable and more, or rather pay more and have better working condition. And so they'll be able to be supported on that. Here in Kenya, majority of the worker cooperatives we've worked or supported in the past are either converted or the startup cooperatives. So just to wrap up this first phase, I wish to play a quick documentary on worker cooperatives, and I will give us some of the insights into how a worker cooperative is formed. Ian, you'll confirm to me about the audio.
All right.
Ian, is the audio okay?
Just hit play. I can't hear any audio.
Okay, so let me just check on audio, and then we can quickly get to view this. Also, I can see Christopher from Kigro has joined us, and so I wish to, as we sort out the audio issues, I wish to invite Christopher from Kigro, who is the secretary, to share more about Kigro and the space they are working. Chris, you can unmute, introduce yourself, and give us a background and a history of Kigro Recyclers.
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Chris. We can hear you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Christopher. I'm Christopher Odiamo from Kigro Waka Cooperatives. My partner was supposed to be around, but apologies on his behalf. Hello. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, Chris, kindly proceed. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Kigro actually started as an enterprise. It was formed by two. That's quite a long time ago. Some of us were in school. Some were not focused with what to do with life. Some were not serious. So Kigro basically it started as an enterprise with two people. Then it moved to a youth group. Now during the transition from enterprise to youth group, that's where many members joined, me, myself included. And as we continued working, the job was hard actually, because there was no structure. We just used to wake up, tunaenda kwa manyumba, tunaokota garbage. Hata hatufanyi recycling. We go and dump and then get the little money from just collecting the garbage. Now, as time passed by, we met Akina Mike and Clear. So we were enlightened on the Waka Cooperative module. I can say it's been quite a journey, because the transition from the youth group to the Waka Cooperative, that's where I can say the music was. Because we actually lost some members. Some didn't like the worker ownership idea, because I won't judge, but that's where the music was. But as we transitioned from the youth group to the worker cooperative, approaching clients became easier. There was this purpose that came with the transition, because you felt like instead of being employed, you actually owned this work, you actually owned the company. Sasa morali ikakuja kutoka hapo. Hello?
We can hear you, Christopher. Just
Yes,
continue.
Christopher, please proceed.
Hello? Kwa ufupi, what we do at Kigro Recyclers Worker Cooperative, so we moved from just collecting the garbage. Nowadays, we sort it out from there are types of garbages, I would say that. Na kwa hiyo harakati ya hizi types za garbages, tunapata pesa mingi zaidi juu kwa hiyo garbage kuna vitu tunauza. Umeona? So hii module at least sahi waka akijoin anajua yeye apati tu mshahara. Akishapata mshahara alipe dividends hapo monthly, yeye anakuwa yeye ana own kitu, wako na say. Si ati anakuja tu kazi ati anaweza vutwa kazi saa yote, hapana. Ndamalizia hapo. Nashukuru.
Thanks, Chris. So quickly.
Hello.
Thanks. Ian, can you confirm now the audio is up?
Yes.
Okay, so let me quickly play this and then we can jump into the next session.
Kigro Recyclers Worker
Cooperative was started as an enterprise. It was started by Alex Kariuki, who is our treasurer, and I, Rogers Rombe.
Treasurer wetu ambaye anaitwa Alex Kariuki.
The county government used to do cleanup, but then stopped and left behind some waste. We decided to clean up the residue using a cart. Clients started asking us if we could too carry waste for them. That's when we noticed that it was an income-generating activity.
Before I joined, I was a sociology student at the University of Nairobi. But upon graduation, I could not secure a job. That prompted us to venture into self-employment.
I was a chef. But during the COVID-19, the hotels were shut down and things became difficult for me. Before I joined the cooperative, I was really struggling.
Hatukukuwa tunajua mambo ya Worker Cooperative.
We didn't know about Worker Cooperative until we met global communities, and they taught us about this model, which we saw would fit in what we do. Apart from that, the two of us could not work alone. In the beginning, other youth despised this job, but as we continued, they realized that there is money in this job. That's when they started joining us. The thing that made us join the Worker Cooperative is teamwork. You don't want any of the members to leave. You will want to retain them, and also that they can get more benefits than just the wage they get when paid. And that's when we thought of forming the cooperative, so that when you come to work, there's much more that you can gain apart from only the salary or wage that you get.
Much more that you can gain apart from only the salary ama the wage that you get.
We found the worker cooperative model.
Tuligundua mtindo wa ushirika wa wafanyikazi kwa kielezo kizuri cha kutumia na kama chanzo cha kuongeza ushiriki wa vijana na ujumuishaji wa kijinsia ndani ya mfumo ekolojia wa ushirika nchini Kenya.
As a lady,
kama mwanamke nina furaha kuwa mwanachama wa Kigro kwa sababu ninaweza kupata pesa, kupata mikopo na kuweka akiba. Nina fursa pia ya kuendeleza masomo yangu kwa kiwango tofauti kuliko nilichonacho sasa.
Sana.
Nilikuwa nafikiria ile design.
I used to think that women should only do household chores. But when I attended the Global Communities Gender Training, I learned that we should prioritize gender equity and equality.
Ile nikajua hizi gender zetu male na female kunafaa kuwa na equity na equality.
I have been empowered socially and economically. Socially, how to interact with people. I have purpose and meaning in the work that I do.
Na mtu hivi sasa unaenda with the purpose and with the meaning.
The worker cooperative.
Mtindo wa ushirika wa wafanyikazi hutoa kazi za muda mrefu kwa sababu mwanachama ni mfanyikazi na ni mmiliki. Kwa hivyo kuna usalama wa kazi hapo. Pia tumeona inatoa mapato bora kwa wanachama.
Better income for the member.
Nimefaidika, naweza lipa nyumba on time.
I have benefited as I am able to pay rent on time and save too. I have consistent income.
People used to run away. They will come to work today and not show up the next day. But in Worker Cooperative, we pay monthly subscription and membership fees, and we still get paid.
I believe.
Ninaamini kuwa Kenya iko katika wakati mzuri sana wa kupokea vuguvugu la ushirika, na haswa zaidi kwa mtindo wa ushirika wa wafanyikazi kupitia sera za maendeleo, nafasi ya kutunga sheria ili kusisitiza mtindo wa ushirika wa wafanyikazi na kuutambua, na vilevile kuwa na ushirika wa wafanyikazi wa majaribio ambao uko tayari kutetea hitaji la ushirika wa wafanyikazi na kuukuza ndani ya nchi.
We used to be called street urchin, and sometimes I will go home and was asked why I went to school, yet being a street urchin didn't require education. But now, they don't call us street urchin. They refer to us as Kigro. And we got the name when we took the job seriously.
Pata jina kulingana na hii kazi vile tuliichukua serious.
Yeah, so that's it in terms of wrapping up the potential of a worker cooperative. And maybe just to mention something as a wrap up to that is studies have shown that cooperatives remained more resilient in terms of economic shocks. And one of the benefits of also cooperatives is that people who have skill sets are able to utilize and aggregate those skill sets and be able to form a business using this type of worker cooperative. And so you can see the potential in which this particular model could work. And just to mention some of the areas where high potential areas for worker cooperatives are in the building and construction, mechanical and engineering. Those we could refer to them as the Juakali, performing arts, tourism, utility delivery, waste management. We've just seen a documentary by Kipngengo, recyclers, and also the space of domestic, where those within that particular space can come together, aggregate their skills, and be able to provide services on that. So at this point, I wish to pass it over to Ian. Can get to the next.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Mike Kipngengo. That was quite an amazing session. I didn't know that worker cooperatives had such a huge audience in the outside markets. And I hope that the same story can be said about Kenya.